guys, welcome to my channel. So before we get into why I quit being a barista at the airport, just a little bit of background. So I am 22. I'm originally from Northern California, but I'm based off of Phoenix, Arizona. So anyway, back to the story. So I loved being a barista. It was my, where I worked was where I first started being a barista. Like, I had no experience prior to that. It's a really good experience. If you want to do that, I would definitely encourage you to try it out. It's fun, you know. You got to be creative with what you do and what you make, so it's pretty fun. So disclaimer, I still love some people that worked at that location at the airport where I worked. I have a lot of love for one of our managers. I love her to death, and I still have some friends there, so, I'm not bashing on it. I mean, I am bashing on it, but, if you want to apply, totally go for it. You could experience it yourself, but I'm just letting you know my experience there. So I was essentially the night shift, which the night shift is from 1:30 to 9:30. I did work at the airport. I'm not going to say which one, but you guys can figure it out. So being a night shift, everybody knows that you have the essential duties to clean, and just to put everything away and, make the drinks and stuff and everything. So it was just kind of annoying because working at the airport, you do get an order. So you have to do bar, cashier, clean the store, and put the order away, which whenever, we got used to it. But there were just three main things that really just pushed me over the edge, and I just literally just was done. So the first one would probably be, since I am in the night shift, we have a passing shift, I guess, with mid shift, which is usually 30 to an hour. And I kid you not, every time a night shift would come in, the store would be disgusting. I'm talking the condiment bar. The coffee would be spilled all over the condiment bar. The sugar was spilled. The milk was... It was just all over the place. And you would walk in and they would literally just be chit-chatting with each other. I get it. There's time to talk to people. But when you see the store is disgusting, why would you leave it like that? And it was just kind of annoying to have to pick up after other people's slack. So when you'd first go in the store, you'd have to clean, bam, 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 because they didn't do anything. The dishes would literally be piled so high, they did not do anything. Whatever. I let it go. I was like, okay, whatever, these people are never gonna change. I'm just gonna do my job and pick up after them. Whatever, it's not a big deal. We got into the routine to do it. It's fine. Whatever. So that was just kind of annoying, I don't know if you guys have experienced that, pick up after other people. It's just really, it's not your job and you're not getting paid for it, but you do it anyway, so, it's fine. So the next thing would be the management. So it's actually not even the management. It's just this one manager in particular that really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't even know. But, so this manager, we're gonna call her Helen. So, Helen was essentially the morning / mid-shift manager. And I never really worked with her. I would only see her during the passing shift. But every time, I would see her, she would make a comment. She would be, oh, night shift didn't do this right, or you guys didn't stock properly, you guys didn't close, you left dirty things. And in my head, I'm just honestly, Helen, how do you expect us to do it when there's only 2 people on the floor, and then the other one is the manager, which the manager, she's doing, or him or she, whoever was doing the order and stuff. It was hard. You had one person barista and one person cashier, and when we would get rushes, it would be hard, and we had to be out by a certain time. So like it was hard, but I let it go. I was like, whatever, like I'll try harder. She would always just kind of nitpick at us. She'd be like, oh, like you left a spoon out or something just irrelevant, but she would always have something to say, nitpick at us, like every time. Like nothing we did was ever good enough for her, but yet her shift wouldn't do anything. Like they would literally leave everything for us. Like I kid you not, one time she spilt the vanilla syrup all over the floor, didn't even pick it up. She literally just left it there. The floor was sticky, and it wasn't until I got there that I started mopping it, and I was like, wow, that's really awesome. And then I asked like somebody from the mid shift, I was like, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, Helen picked it up, but she's not gonna pick it up. And I was like, that's cool, awesome, great, more work for me, whatever. So the first I wouldn't say fight, but argument we had was, okay, so this guy would come in and fix the fridges and stuff for like the milk and stuff. And my friend that worked with me, she's my girl, like she told me, she's like, hey, like I think he's cute. And I was like, all right, like I got you, girl, like I'm a matchmaker, so I was talking to him and I was like, hey, my girl, so and so, she thinks you're so cute, but she's so shy to talk to you, like, you should hit her up. And he's like, oh, really? Like, I think she's cute too, like I've just been shy to tell her. And I was like, oh my god, like I'll give you her number, like you should text her like right now. Helen literally looks at me, she's like, Erlonda, stop bothering the help and get to work. And I kid you not, my jaw was like what? Like, what did she just tell me? Like, what? Like, first of all, guys, I was not even clocked in. I'm always 15 minutes early to my job, like, all the time. And I told her that. I was like, I'm not clocked in, Helen. Like, I have 15 minutes. And she dead looked at me, and she's like, I don't care. And I was like, well, I'm not clocked in. Like, I'm not going to, like, And honestly, that's the first time I ever really talked back to a manager, but she just made me so mad. Like, he was done doing his work. Like, he had nothing to do. Like, he actually literally left, like, right after that whole discussion happened. And I was like, no, like, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I have 15 minutes. And she's like, don't give me attitude. And I was just like, excuse me? Like, you literally, how is that professional to say, I don't care? Like, what? Like, I'm just so confused. And just the way she said it, she was just like, I don't care, get to work. Like, what? Like, am I wrong for being mad? And I honestly just left to the bathroom because I bit my tongue and I was like, I'm leaving. Like, I'll come back when it's my shift. So that incident happened, and I'm not gonna lie, I was salty with her, and I avoided her for, I don't even know, till the next interaction that we had together. That was, yeah. So, she would always like pick at us, like how we didn't stock cups and stuff. And I asked the people above Helen, I was like, hey, how do you want the cups stocked? Like, Helen always, like, she says we don't do it right, or we don't stock enough, and this, and this. And they were like, oh, well, we want it, not too high, like, over the counter so people could reach over it. We don't want it like that. And I was like, okay, like, I got you. Like, I'll do that, like, you guys are cool. Like, I got you. And I was telling my other coworker, I was like, hey, so this is actually how they want us to stock it. And of course, Helen was listening to my conversation. So she comes over and she's just like this, like listening to my conversation. I was like, okay, like whatever, I'll let her know. And she was like, well, I'm a manager too, and I want you to stock it high for me when I come in. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. Like, they're higher than you, I'm not going to. That's how they said to do it. And she got so mad at me, and she was like, don't give me attitude. And I literally just walked away from the conversation because I knew I was going to say something that I was going to regret later. So I walked away. I went to go sweep. I went to go do my other things. She's like, Arlonda, I want to talk to you. And I was like, okay. So she took me to the table, and she was like, what's going on? Why don't you like me? What's the issue? What can I do? And I was like, Helen, I'm just serious about my job. Like, I straight dead told her that. And she was like, well, I am too, but you don't have to be so, you don't have to give me attitude all the time. And I was like, I'm not giving you attitude. I just don't understand why you always come at us with things that we do. Like, it's hard for us. It's only 2 people working. We have to do the order. We have to do bar. We have to do cashier. And there's rushes. Like, at the airport, like, it's pretty, like, consistent. So it's hard to do everything when it's only basically 2 people. And she was like, oh, well, you're giving me so much attitude right now. Like, next time I'm going to have a shift lead come and sit with us so he can witness how much attitude you're giving me. And I literally wanted to laugh in her face. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, I was like, what? I was literally so fed up with her. She literally was she's so rude. Like, I know it doesn't sound this rude, but if you guys experienced her tone of voice that she was giving me, you guys would have been infuriated. I didn't say anything though. I was just like, okay. And I left, and I was like, I got a brand, like, I literally, like, I would literally joke with my other manager. I'd be like, I got a brand new attitude. And, you know, like, because nobody liked her. Like, she was literally so rude to everybody. And, like, she would just judge everybody. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, when I would be on bar, she would just sit there over the counter and watch me make the drinks. And I'm like, what are you doing, you weirdo? Whatever, though. That was, like, the second thing that kind of really made me mad. But, well, you know, whatever. And then the kind of, like, the third thing she did was she told all of management. And I know you're supposed to tell everybody, but it's just funny because one of my friend, he's an assistant manager, he was like, hey, like, I heard this happened. Is this true? And I was like, what? Like, she literally told them her side. So she didn't mention that she told me she didn't care. Like, you know, like, she left all the important things out. And I was like, dude, no, like, that didn't happen. Like, let me tell you what actually happened. He's like, okay, well, I honestly believe you. So I want you to call, you know, out everybody and be like, this is what really happened. So everybody knows your side. And I was so mad that she had the audacity to even lie to them. Like, I guess it's not really lying, but she's leaving out important things that happened in that whole feud, the 2 feuds, and she's only telling them their side. So it looks like I'm the bad person. So I was so mad about that. Like, I was like, what? Like, is this really happening? Like, what? Yeah, so that happened. And then the third thing that really set me off was, so obviously I'm from Northern California, so, like, that's 14 hours away from Phoenix. I'm very homesick. This is my first year here. I was like, oh, you know what? 3 months ago, I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I'm going to buy a ticket home because I want to go to fair. You know, I want to go with my family. I want to see my niece and nephew. So I bought a ticket, and I put in the request 2 months prior to me leaving. The month comes up, you know, the week comes up that I'm supposed to be going, and I get the schedule, and I'm scheduled for the days off. And I was like, what? Like, why am I scheduled? Like, I literally asked for these days 2 months in advance. And I was just kind of mad because there's this, my other coworker, he asks a week ahead, and they give it to him. And I was just I was confused, you know. I was like, maybe they forgot. I texted like the partial owner, and I was like, hey, so-and-so, just a reminder that I asked for these days off 2 months ago. Didn't text me back, whatever. I texted the other manager, and I was like, hey, just to let you know, like, I asked for these days like 2 months ago. And she texted me back with this thing, and it said that I don't have PTO, and sometimes it's hard for me to get days off because I don't have any PTO and this and this. And I was like, are you serious? Like what? I was infuriated. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I literally bust my butt off working here, and you guys aren't even gonna give me 3 days off. It wasn't even like I was asking for a week. It was 3 days. Like, that's all I could do because that's all they would ever give you, 3 days. Maybe 4 days max, but I was asking for 3 days. And she's like, well, let's work with that. You know, she's like, we can try to work it out and see who can cover your schedule. And I was so mad. Like, I was just so mad because this other guy that hasn't even been there as long as me is getting these days off, and I'm not. You know, and not to be a baby or, like, you know, whine about things, but, you know, I hadn't been home since December. Like, I missed home, like, you know, like, this is the first time I've ever been away from my family for this long. Like, I'm homesick. I want to go see them, like, you know? So that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And I actually put in my week notice after I saw that. And I quit. And I honestly don't regret it. I mean, I do miss the people. Like, I miss the people that worked in the other state, like, places inside of the airport. Like, I miss them. Like, you know, they're cool. Like, you meet so many people and it's awesome. But just the way that they have management and just the way that it works, it's just not worth it. But that's honestly my personal opinion. And I really hope you guys like this story. But like and subscribe to my page.